Hello everybody, this is WarriorDan and welcome to the newest episode of What is the Point of? Warhammer for years now has been a widespread cult phenomenon in both board game form and in video game form, so it makes sense that eventually this multimedia giant would inevitably bring the battlefield onto mobile platforms. Games Workshop, the publishers and rights holders behind the Warhammer franchise, brought on mobile developer Pixel Games to handle development of the game you currently see before you on screen now. Warhammer Age of Sigmar is a free-to-play, card-based, real-time strategy game, one that also takes great inspiration on a mechanical level from MOBA titles like Heroes of the Storm and Dota 2. After playing through a brief series of tutorials, players can face off against one another in one-on-one matches. As players play more matches and make their way up the competitive ranking ladder, they'll unlock new and more complicated arenas, with multi-lane designs and secondary objectives peppered in to add in a bit more flavor for the more experienced players. In these battles, players battle by proxy by summoning minions to fight on their behalf. Minions are represented on screen as virtual cards. Each minion requires a set amount of energy to summon, represented on the card with a numerical value. Upon dragging the card onto the battlefield, the creature will spawn and the required energy is detracted from your energy meter. Unlike other games within the genre such as Minion Masters, Age of Sigmar does not give much in the line of actively allowing players to increase the refresh rate of this energy or alternatively decrease that of the enemy players, giving combat comparatively a more shallow and passive feel as a result. That said, I don't mean to imply that combat as handled here is inherently bad or irredeemably flawed in design. The visual effects for many of the minion abilities, combined with their unique in-game mechanical value, each serving a different purpose and each ideal in specific scenarios, result in some truly great moments, especially when used in conjunction with one another, similar to games like Overwatch. New minion cards can be unlocked either by completing daily challenges or by obtaining loot boxes, either through in-game progression or using real money. As for the latter, I'm not sure why you would ever need to resort to real cash because you'll obtain loot boxes at such a prodigious rate. The mere concept of buying additional loot boxes would be wasteful to the point of lunacy. Unlike most mobile games, there isn't a real grind in order to get loot boxes, it's actually fairly simple to get them. So unless you're looking to pick up cards at a really fast rate and basically buy your way through progression, there's no need to do that. It's there as an option if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's easier just to play the game for free as is. The match ends when one player makes their way past the opponent's minions and other defenses and successfully destroys the opponent's tower, before proceeding to slay the opponent's hero character. Alternatively, players could attempt to bypass the tower altogether by attacking via the less commonly used secondary lane, which leads behind the tower and instead towards the enemy hero character. I like this multi-lane approach, but I wish the developers expanded on this concept. Imagine having to defend and attack using 3 or 4 different lanes. It would add a lot more variety and intensity to each match. However, given this is a mobile game and aimed at mobile platforms with limited screen space, I do not condemn them for electing instead for a simpler level design, although this is certainly not to the advantage of or benefit of the game. Matches go by really quick, with strict 3-minute-long timers forcing players to take quick decisive action, as opposed to the type of longer, slow-building battles more commonly seen in your typical garden variety MOBA. Matchmaking being an important part of any MOBA or a tactical card game is handled fairly well here. After playing a few dozen matches leading up to this review, only a handful of times did I feel woefully outmatched by my opponent, with the vast majority of games feeling equally balanced. Credit to the developers for implementing an MMR system that, for the most part, easily places players where they ought to be, and not throwing them against opponents they are ill-prepared to face. Overall, for a fast-paced pick-up-and-play MOBA card game, I definitely found this enjoyable, but not quite up to the standards one would expect from a Warhammer licensed game, even a mobile one. For the time being, I'll wait till we hopefully get an actual Warhammer RTS game on mobile, because I do believe there could be a demand for a free-to-play, high-quality RTS on mobile, as long as Games Workshop is willing to invest in one by finding a mobile developer willing to commit to the high standards people have come to expect from the Warhammer franchise at large. However, this is where I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hope you've all enjoyed this newest What is the Point of video. Once again, I hope to be back to making PC review videos fairly soon. But in the meantime, I do have 1 or 2 mobile titles I plan to cover just for fun. If you did like this video, do hit that like button, and if you're new here, do consider subscribing down below and opting into getting notifications so you can be among the first to know when a new video goes live. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome everybody, and peace out.